Urban Dictionary defines the word unique as being different in a good way. I think I'm quite different in a good way, as I was born with a form of dwarfism called achondroplasia. Achondroplasia is caused by a mutation in the FGFR3 gene and affects 1 in every 40,000 babies. It affects bone growth, so a dwarf can only grow to a maximum height of 4'2". The diagnosis of achondroplasia can be before birth by the use of ultrasound scanning and testing methods such as DNA and amniocentesis, or it can be found after birth by X-rays. The common characteristics of a person with dwarfism include short stature, short arms and legs, prominent forehead, depressed nasal bridge. There are many other forms of achondroplasia, other forms of dwarfism. For example, hypochondroplasia, which is quite similar to achondroplasia, and also achondroplasia, which is a bit different and is not as common as achondroplasia. From an early age, well, since I was born, I've been attending Great Ormond Street Hospital in London. Many of you might know it's one of the leading children's hospitals in the world. I have to go there because there are consultants there that help me with my disability. Although I am lucky, as I have a local paediatrician that I can talk to and go to if I have any emergencies. Throughout my life so far, I've had many positive and negative experiences due to my achondroplasia. For example, once I was walking through the streets of London with my mum when a car pulled up next to us. I thought it was very strange considering it was the middle of the day and the road was flowing with traffic. Then I noticed the passenger of the car pull up his phone, angle it at the window, and take a photo. I felt shocked, horrified, really upset, and quite confused. I turned to my mum and said, "Why are they taking photos of us? Are we in the paper?" Then I realised it's because I'm different. And that was not a good day. And the worst part is, and still is now, I don't know where that photo is. Is it online? I don't even want to think of what the comments are underneath. But then I realised that many people might have had similar experiences to mine. So I contacted my friends from Little People UK. Little People UK is a charity run by Warwick Davis and his wife Sammy and offers guidance and support to all little people and their families whilst holding annual conventions. They also offer support and bring doctors along to talk to you about your condition, to talk to families who have newborns who have never heard of the disability before. How would you feel if you had a newborn baby? You were so excited that you'd be able to bring this baby into the world, but then you realise that something's wrong with it. It's not the perfect baby that you imagined it to be. It's got a disability. Well, this is what Little People UK are for. They're there to offer guidance and support to answer any of your questions. Because when you have a newborn baby, the parents are of course going to ask questions. When the first time I went to a Little People UK event, I was very shocked. I was looking around at my mum and I said, "Look, all these people. They're my height. They're just like me." It was very strange at first, but then when you get used to it, you feel like it's your normality. You feel you're in this bubble, a good bubble, and you're not faced by prejudice. You feel normal. And for that weekend, that day, you feel normal. And that's how I felt. And when at the end of my first weekend, Sammy Davis, the leader, came up to me and said, "Gemma, what was your favourite thing about the weekend?" My answer was simply, not having to look up. Warwick Davis has been a true inspiration to me since I've been at Little People UK. As a key actor myself, I've always been fascinated by Warwick's acting career, as he has shown that just because he is little doesn't mean he can't achieve his aims in life. A few years ago, he set up the Reduced Height Theatre Company and then performed. But the thing was, there was no average height people. It was all little people, which was quite strange. And it was the first acting company to do that. They performed a show called See How They Run, which toured to cities including Manchester and Liverpool. And Warwick wanted to make sure that everything was accessible. Everything. So when the set designers came, he made sure that all the set was accessible. Everyone could reach everything. Everyone could sit on a chair without climbing onto it. That I have to do quite a lot. Little People UK aims to create equality for all little people. And gradually, over the years, little people have been accepted into the world. But sadly, there's still some prejudice. For example, a few months ago, the comedian Jimmy Carr was on the One Show, and he said, "I tried to write the shortest joke possible, so I wrote a two-worded joke, dwarf shortage. It's just so I could pack more jokes into the show." Then he carried on by saying, "If you're a dwarf and you're offended by that, grow up." I don't know about any of you, but I found that pretty offensive, and many other dwarfs did too, which resulted in many dwarfs contacting BBC and criticising them, which resulted in the BBC sincerely apologising to them. Even though there's been some negativity in the press, there's also been a lot of positivity. For example, there are many documentaries on the TV showing all you average height people how little people can live their lives to normal. For example, there's an American programme that's shown over here in the UK called Little People Big World. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but it's about a family of little people. Well, I say a family. The mother and father are little people, and one of their sons is too. But three of their children are not. And that's quite strange. But it's still good to show people how little people can cope and how little people need to adapt but can still live a normal life. Also, there's a programme on Born to be Different. And on this programme, there's a boy called Hamish, who is my age and also has achondroplasia. And he's now showing the world that he can do anything. And he's at 16 years old, he's going to the Rio 2016 Paralympics and representing New Zealand. The little people community is constantly growing, and gradually more and more awareness is being made. If you don't take anything away from this presentation, think about this. How would you feel if you had to live in a world that wasn't made for your size? Where would you sit? How would you be able to reach things? There are many difficulties that I have to face on a daily basis. For example, going to a public toilet. It's something I can't do. But many of you might be thinking, there's disability accessible ones. And yes, they are. But how accessible actually are they? I can go in. I can lock the door. I can use the sink and the dryer. But actually physically getting onto the toilet, that is something I'm unable to do. Going into a shop, I'm unable to reach things on higher shelves. Sometimes trying to even get into a shop is a struggle, as I can't even get to the automatic doors because the sensors are too high. So there have been many a times where I've had to jump. Yeah, that's been a bit embarrassing, you know. And then there's other times, like water parks and theme parks. They're quite a two-sided coin, because many of the rides, as many of you know, if you've been to a theme park or water park, there are height restrictions. So I'm unable to go on every ride. But the rides I can go on, I can be bumped to the front of the queue. So I never have to queue for hours, which is quite a bonus. I have many plans for the future. I plan to become a primary school teacher. When I went to my old primary school for my work experience, I realised just how much I loved working with children. The children are some of the most enjoyable and fun people to work with. When I was there, a young girl came up to me and said, "Gemma, why are you so small?" And I turned around to her and said, "We're all different. Some people are tall, some people are small. It's just the way we're made." Then she smiled, turned around, and ran back onto the playground to meet her friends. And that's what I love about children. They're not mean, they don't point, they don't stare. They're just simply fascinated and want to learn. And that's why I want to become a teacher. There are many people who have asked me questions about my disability, but one of the most common questions has been, if there was a magic pill that would take away your achondroplasia, would you take it? My answer every time? No, I wouldn't take it. And that may surprise some of you, but it's true. Even though there's some really tough times and you have really bad days where you don't feel equal, you feel like an outcast, there are some really good times. And I've been able to gain a whole new life with Little People UK and meeting lots of other dwarfs and little people and be able to do lots of charity work. I've been able to gain a whole new perspective of life. And I want to tell everyone here today, and everyone watching this, everyone is equal, no matter what race, disability, religion, gender, sexuality. You can be whatever you want to be. And don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. Because at the end of the day, everyone is unique. My name is Gemma, and this is my life at 4'2". Thank you.